press conference in Highbury today to immediately retain the services of Rice, who's led Arsenal in their last two matches.
Yes, he has kept them holding on, but Wenger's found his place at last. Japanese club Drastic will keep him tied until the end of this month. Then he'll officially take over at Highbury on October the 1st, with Pat Rice confirmed.
For more.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Man. I am your host Prakash. This is my co-host Patty.
Hey, what's up? It's been a while. I just we actually did a video last week, but due to unforeseen circumstances, and audio problems, we decided to redo it, and we come to you again this week. And wow, a lot has happened in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and even more so since we tried taking the video the first time.
Yeah.
So
I think we should start off. Since it's February, that means that the transfer window is closed down, the winter transfer window. So I think that's the best place to start off with. And I think the best place to start off with would be Chelsea, I guess, in the Premier League, because we've got arguably what would be the biggest transfer name, at least,
to come in. Yeah, right, for sure.
And go out probably, because we had Morata leaving. We all.
I guess he's a $60 million signing.
Yeah.
65.
Yeah, and we also thought that Morata would be one of the signings of this. Like we were talking about Morata or Lukaku being the signing of the summer.
Yeah.
A couple of years back.
It was supposed to be Morata versus Lukaku, and it seems, I think ultimately Lukaku obviously clearly did win, but it seems like even he's facing issues.
Yeah.
That's for later.
Yeah.
But for now, it seems that Chelsea have decided to move Morata forward on a loan spell, an 18-month loan spell.
Yeah.
Clearly that's not just a loan spell. And more than just that, they ended up bringing in one of the previous highest bought for players from Serie A.
Yeah.
Higuain.
Wow. It's just like one false striker for another. Yeah, because if Morata misses 10 out of 10 chances, Higuain misses 9 out of 10 at least. He had. We're already in February, and he's already had like a rough start to the Premier League. Initially, losing 4-0 to Bournemouth, we've come to expect that of Chelsea right now. That they...
Yeah. But then the thing is, they also have the ability to... That's the thing with Chelsea, right? You never know what Chelsea are going to get.
Yeah.
Between matches, between leagues, between weeks, you don't know which Chelsea are going to get. 1 week they could get beat 4-0. The next week they can win 5-0.
Yeah.
You just don't know what you're going to see.
And Higuain scored a brace. Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't know where I stand on it, whether it's a good buy or not, because you're selling someone who's 26 for someone who's 31 or 32.
Mm-hmm.
But clearly Morata was struggling in Chelsea's system. The open goal against, I think, Nottingham Forest is clear enough for that.
Not just one, it's been like a season and a half of open goal chance misses.
Yeah.
So, right.
And everything...
It's pretty clear now.
And everything in Chelsea is to please Eden Hazard, right now. So Hazard preferred playing with a target man, which Morata is technically, but a target man that can, link up play, which I don't think Morata could. Because Eden has said that he loves to play with Giroud. And we know how Giroud doesn't score too much, but links up well with Hazard. And so I think also Higuain's previous, I think he played under Sarri in Napoli, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not too sure, but
yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So given that Sarri knows how to utilize Higuain probably, that's why they decided to go for him.
I think so. I think they are a pretty good match because he knows what he's going to get with Higuain. Even if it's an Asian deteriorating striker, he knows what he's going to get for him.
A bottler.
Has there been a transfer? Has there been a transfer fee mentioned?
No, I think even he's on loan, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, interesting.
Or yeah, I don't.
I'm not exactly sure, but I guess that makes sense that he's on loan.
Right.
Because that's a smart move if they did bring him on loan because he is an aging striker and you don't want to be stuck with that on your books.
Yeah, but then again, it's the same with Giroud, right? Like even when if Chelsea buy him, they only sign him for like an 18-month deal. They only sign them for short term if they are of a certain age and above. So I wouldn't be surprised even if he was bought permanently that it is only like an 18-month contract.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but so talking about Chelsea, and that's not that wasn't the only biggest story. Let's mention that even Arsenal bought Denis Suarez on the last day after such a long transfer saga.
They finally got a Suarez.
And this was for how much? I think 20 million or so, 22 million. I think roughly around that much. Plus the pound. Let's not forget plus £1. But I mean, we spoke about how Arsenal were only going to get loan players, and then suddenly they were linked with the likes of Ivan Perisic, Denis Suarez, Yannick Carrasco, and you were just wondering, I mean, are you going to sign all these players on loan? Because at the end, these clubs would want a guaranteed amount of money, right? Because Perisic at the end of the contract of his loan with Inter would say, yeah, now pay up 45 million. The option to buy has to be triggered, which Arsenal were very, I think they weren't sure whether they could match that kind of money towards the end. But I think 22 million for one player, they were willing to say, okay, Kroenke is busy building up his Super Bowl team. So anyways.
And losing there as well. So,
yeah.
Ha.
But yeah, so I think those two were the biggest stories because I don't think City, Liverpool, United, or Spurs. Did Spurs buy anyone? No. I don't think so. Yeah, no. They set the record for the first team to not buy anyone in both windows. And we'll come to what the problem with that is later on. Yeah. So anyway, talking about Chelsea, that wasn't the biggest story, which was Higuain coming in. The biggest story was Sarri criticizing his players openly.
That was, yeah, I mean, like that was one of the biggest concerns that people used to raise about Mourinho. And now it's not just one manager who said that about these set of players. You had 3 managers come in and question the attitude and mentality of these players.
Yeah, I mean, at some point you're going to say that it's probably not the manager's fault. These players tend to be more diva-like, I think, than the rest of the league. I mean, you got Hazard, you got Alonso, and we've spoken about how the times have changed where players need to be pampered a little more. And you've had 2 managers who prefer the tough love approach, right? I mean, Conte, fine, is slightly more lenient than Mourinho, but both are quite strict in their way of man management.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think it kind of rubbed off
Pretty
people.
rigid, yeah. I understand.
Yeah, it kind of rubbed off.
They're not the ones who would put their arms around every player and then joke out with them. Not a Pochettino type.
Yeah, or Guardiola or Klopp, but yeah, and I think by doing that they kind of froze out some of the key players for Chelsea at the time because Conte had with Willian and Courtois. Mourinho obviously had his biggest problem with Hazard, and but I don't know where I stand with Sarri. I for one would prefer if he did this talk or this criticizing inside the dressing room rather than openly shame her, because we've seen the consequences of what could happen in such a situation, right? I mean, like,
Yeah,
we've seen it with Mourinho. That's the biggest example. Third season Mourinho is the biggest
exactly.
example
Right.
of so the only difference between what Mourinho does and what Sarri's done is that Mourinho singles out like specific players.
Individual players. Here, he literally had a press conference and he called out his whole team. So
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like one player's ego gets hurt, at least.
Right.
But so the first time we spoke about this, we questioned whether this would work out or not.
Yeah.
And well, now we kind of have the results where it sort of did, and they ended up winning 5-0. So
Well, yeah. I mean, they after that they won against Wimbledon, I think, in the FA Cup, and then they lost 4-0 to Bournemouth, and they won 5-0. So it's still not clear whether that's actually worked, because we still see the same old Chelsea, which they can be brilliant on their day, and probably especially at home, whereas
especially
away,
if Hazard clicks.
yeah, I mean, everything's about Hazard in Chelsea right now.
Who we're hearing rumors might be leaving.
Yeah, I mean, it all seems like everything that he does is an audition for Real Madrid. And Sarri himself said that if he wants, he can leave the club, which is fair enough. I mean, he's not stopping Hazard from leaving. It's all up to Madrid. But Sarri, I mean, if this is to work out, if he's going to criticize players, if it has to work out, Sarri has to ensure that he's got the players that he wants and he's got them on his side.
And it's not just about getting the players on your side too, because it seems like it's not just about getting the players on your side to win. It seems like this group of players know that they can outlast their manager, just from the way things have been conducted in Chelsea historically. So
True.
he needs the support of his team, not just to win, but to keep his job in this case.
Yeah.
So it's all the more important.
But I don't know. I mean, like, how many managers will Abramovich go through? Because if you get rid of Sarri,
How many world-class managers are left, right?
Exactly. I mean, who would get Zidane? You at some point you just run out of managers if you keep firing them and then not even bat an eye when the players are at fault.
We all know. I mean, I think at this point we know that these players are capable
Yeah.
of both, and we know that because of their abilities and their past record of reaching heights, we know that it's just an issue that comes out to mentality, and but that mentality that also depends on the manager. It's the manager's job to motivate those players.
I guess so. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see where it lasts. I think. I mean, if he doesn't start criticizing his players more, I still see Sarri go on for another season mostly.
Yeah, that seems likely. Like he's not going to kick out one of the world's. Like, I'm not going to say greatest, but I'm not say best. I'm going to say right now one of the most sought after managers.
Yeah, I think
He's
that's
not going to just kick. Yeah, you're not going to kick him out just like that. You're not going to kick him out without giving him enough time to set his team and see what he wants.
Yeah,
But I think serious questions will be asked if Chelsea continue to fall out of the top 4.
True, and also if Hazard leaves, if they can sign a replacement, an adequate replacement, someone who can change the game as much as Hazard did for them.
First of all, congrats Chelsea. You have proved that the manager is not the problem. It's the squad's mentality, the players' mentality that's the problem. Speaking of mentality, this cannot be solved with hugs and kisses like how our Jurgen Klopp does with Liverpool. It needs some tough love. And by tough love, I mean the kind of love Mourinho gives to his players and the kind of love Sarri gives to his players. And now we're going to see a comparison between Mourinho's way of criticizing his players and Sarri's way of criticizing his players. Now let's talk about Mourinho. In almost every club he's been, he's fallen out with some player or the other, whether it was Casillas in Real Madrid, whether it was Hazard in Chelsea, whether it was Pogba in United. He always had that one player which he targeted and he singled out and criticized that one player. And what this really does is it doesn't improve the mentality in any way, in my opinion. It just kind of creates a sort of negative atmosphere in the dressing room, and this happened in almost every club he's been. Whether it was Chelsea, towards the end, they all of them stopped performing for him. All of them couldn't. They didn't want to play under Mourinho, and you could see that in the way they played. And even in case of United, it was almost the same thing. They didn't want to play under him. They were forced to play a style which they were not used to under Mourinho. I mean, yeah, he used to be a successful manager and he used to call someone the specialist in failure, but look where he is now. He spreads negativity wherever he goes. That's what Mourinho is. And now let's talk about Sarri. Sarri is a player whose style of play is different compared to Chelsea. He's not forcing them to play his style, as in he accepts that he needs time to adapt. He accepts that Chelsea is not used to his style. The players need time to adapt. His tactics need time to work to become successful in Chelsea. But when Chelsea give a bad performance, he doesn't single out a single. He doesn't pick a single player and blame the performance. Blame them for the loss. He criticizes the whole team. He says these group of players cannot be motivated in any way. He's criticizing them as a group. He's not single out. So he's not picking a single player and criticizing him. Let's see the last performance. The 4-0 loss. Luis was at fault. Alonso was dropped, but Emerson was at fault. The previous game we lost against Tottenham, Alonso was at fault. He didn't pick them out separately and he say Alonso is a bad player. He's not. He made this mistake and he'll be dropped next game. Like how Mourinho was criticizing Shaw. Mourinho criticized Pogba. A lot of people, he picks them out and he criticizes them separately. But then Sarri doesn't do that. He does the criticizing inside the dressing room. He keeps it within the team. He doesn't let the negativity spread out. After the Bournemouth game, he sat with the team in the dressing room. He chased away the coaches, everyone out of the dressing room, and he sat with the team for 1 hour. 1 hour. So you can expect the kind of treatment he was giving the players. You can expect the kind of criticism he was giving the players, and he keeps it within the team. He doesn't let it go out. This is the kind of criticism that the team needs. This is the kind of motivation the team needs. This is the difference between Mourinho and Sarri.
Yeah, I agree.
And talking about like world class managers, let's move on to Spurs and Pochettino and what he's up to there. I don't know what to cook. I mean, Spurs one week they're out of the title race, and the next week they're right back in it.
Bro, 1 week we're thinking about them falling out of the top 4, or at least the top 3 position, and the next week it looks like they are well within a shout of the title race.
Yeah.
Even with the injured players, they're only 5 points away from the top.
I think so. Yeah.
That is so doable. They're 5 points from Liverpool. They're 2 points from Man City. It's insane. At this point, I don't know. I kind of don't want all 3 of them to win. Because Liverpool, because I don't want it's Liverpool. City, because they are rivals, and I don't want. I thought I wanted Spurs to win, but I don't want Spurs to win because then Pochettino would have less reason to come to United.
True.
Right? Or does that make? Does he have more reason to come to United now that he's won everything?
But then, I mean, Spurs would probably have then money to spend or something like that. I don't know. You can make a case on both sides, right? So if he wins with Spurs, then he sees the potential in Spurs. Then why does he move to a club that hasn't won in 5 years? On the other hand,
But one thing is even if he wins with Spurs, we all know that that's an overachievement, right? With United, we know that if he can win with the Spurs that spend no money, that's not supported him at all, he knows for a fact that he can destroy the league with United. Like the resources, the fans, the amount of power he gets at United, he's not going to see that. He's not going to have the same set of tools in Spurs. If he can win the league at Spurs, we know for a fact that he'll destroy it with United.
Yeah, but okay, but I mean Spurs. We say now that they're in the title race, and come next week we're again going to talk about how their lack of summer signings or winter transfers have cost them a chance at the title shot because all of them are tired. Son has already mentioned in a press interview that he is tired, but he can't do anything but play the games because he's the only sole.
He's the only one left, yeah.
Yeah, and you can see that they only rely on last minute goals to push them over the
They
line.
have continuously been doing that, yeah.
Yeah, they haven't had a draw at all this entire season. It's either win or lose. And so at some point it could just catch up to them with the Champions League coming up this month as well. We all know how this month is going to be so important for United, for the title challenge, because with the Champions League coming, which teams are going to actually focus on the league or which teams are going to focus on the Champions League. It's going to be interesting. But let's also talk about what Pochettino said in his interview post the loss against who did they lose against? United? No, not United. Oh no, when they got knocked out of the FA Cup, right? By Crystal Palace. They got knocked out of the league. I mean, obviously they got knocked out of the League Cup against Chelsea.
They got knocked out of 2 trophies back to back.
Yeah, in the
I mean,
space
two,
in the space of 1 week,
right.
they lost to League
So it
Cup.
was both FA Cup and League Cup.
Yeah, the League Cup, it's the saddest thing because the one time where they removed the away goal. It's
So typical of Spurs.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, I do think that Spurs have a shot, and I hope they do because they, to me, are the ones that I would like to see winning the league out of the 3 candidates right now. It's a 3 hours race back again, and I hope it continues this way.
But what did you make of his comments post the loss against FA Cup, where he spoke about trophies not mattering?
It's not about trophies.
Yeah, and that.
I mean, maybe last week I might have overreacted and said that that's not a mentality that a United manager should have. From a perspective of a United fan, that's not what we'd like to see. But I think we might be actually nitpicking here. It might be just something that's said in the moment to save face. He might not actually mean it. He might just. I think there's a chance that he just said that to wash away the failure of missing the cup. And it's not an easy thing for sure. Like you have half your players missing, you're missing all of your attack. You're playing with fucking Llorente. It's a miracle that he even scored a goal that game. He missed so many chances that game, and somehow he scored a header. Like somehow. So I completely agree and accept it's a difficult choice, and I think that he's doing the best he can. And at that point, I don't think he truly meant that he doesn't want to win trophies. His hands were tied, and he's just not the manager to criticize or to make excuses saying I don't have the players or I don't.
Yeah, I mean, but to me, it seems like he's probably taken Spurs to the peak, right? At this point, he has to win a trophy because else it's just a downhill slope from now on. With either him leaving or all of the major players leaving, or the worst case scenario for Spurs where everyone leaves. Because right now they've reached a height where they cannot. I mean, they already for the past couple of years they've been almost close to challenging for the league title. They've done decent in the Champions League. I mean, and they aren't in a stage where they can pump in more money. They've got the players that they require. Well, he spoke about Spurs making sure they only get into the top 4 for now, which I get because in order to pay the debts of the stadium, you need to have Champions League football.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, so what he said was right, but I think, and he also mentioned that Spurs need to be in the top 4 consistently, and that trophies don't matter, but and I think top 4 is a priority, right? Because you need Champions League football in order to repay all your debts to get an income, and you're going to repay it. But at some point, he needs to think about getting a trophy, or else if he just making an excuse for Spurs and then saying, yeah, I'm not anyway going to be around in this club for so long, so I'm like, screw it. Like, you guys just get top four. I'm just going to go to United and win a trophy there. Which
that's true. Like I mean, I think I like again, like I don't see that resting on Pochettino. I think that's Levy's responsibility there. He needs to spend the money. He needs to spend the money to keep his players, keep the manager. He has a world-class team. He's got a world-class manager here. And this is, it's sad that they both came together, a stadium and the team came together at the wrong time, but you have to do what you have to.
Yeah.
You have to win trophies if you want to continue growing.
And speaking about doing what you have to do, let's talk about the the championship, which we rarely mention. And we've got probably the biggest news there of what madman Marcelo Bielsa did at Leeds United. I mean, seriously, never in my life have I ever heard something as weird a story as what happened.
Audacious as what he did.
Yeah.
It's just incredible.
So, to whoever's been living under a rock for these past 2 weeks, or a month at least, I mean, Leeds United have been found to be spying on their opponents' teams before each match. And Marcelo Bielsa openly admitted to that fact, saying that, yes, I do spy on the opposition, and which brought in a lot of debate amongst journalists and the sports media and everybody. And suddenly there was an announcement by Leeds saying that there's a press conference at 2 p.m. And everyone is going, oh, he's going to get sacked for admitting that there's...
He's going to announce his retirement. His resigning.
Yeah, his resignation's coming. Despite even one of his own players saying that, no, he's not resigning. Everyone is like, no, man. I mean, you admitted to spying. What worse can you do? And
exactly.
And everything happened. And then I think an hour after the conference, word comes out that, 2 hours after the conference, the word comes out that it wasn't a resignation, but he actually prepared a 2-hour PowerPoint presentation on his tactics, her spying tactics?
Yeah, it's true. So his main press conference is pretty much saying, yeah, I spy. It's one, I spy. 2, it's not part of the rules to say not to spy, so it's not illegal for me to spy. And 3, the fact that I spied on another team doesn't matter, because look at how much research I do on another team. And he went on to give a 2-hour presentation on how, step by step, how to defeat Derby County. And every single thing that they do, from the players' positions to the free kicks that they took, on every single game they've played throughout this season so far.
Yeah, man, ridiculous. You can see why he's a madman.
I know. I'm so excited at the prospect of him coming to the Premier League.
But okay, so what is your stance on spying? Are you okay with the idea of spying? Does it really actually make a difference?
I mean, if something's not in the rules, if it's not illegal, then go for it. This is war. You gotta play by whatever you can do legally to win.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like he's won all of his matches that he spied on, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not unfair advantage like taking drugs to enhance how you play that nobody does. Guardiola, but if it's legal, then go for it. Use whatever tool is in your arsenal to win.
Yeah, and obviously things change at the last minute while the match goes on. A person who's supposed to play somewhere just gets injured and the whole tactics change. So it really doesn't...
Team sheets change, things change. It's not as simple as, hey, I spied so I know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah. So, yeah, and even I think Guardiola, who's one of Bielsa's not protege, but like idols, right? Or no, Bielsa is an idol of Guardiola.
Bielsa is an idol of, no. So, Guardiola idolizes Bielsa.
That's the best.
He bases his tactics on Marcelo Bielsa's actual tactics.
And he's admitted to saying that that he will be that he had spied on other teams in other leagues, not in the Premier League. But it's going to be interesting though. So it's going to be interesting though that if Leeds come to the Premier League, because we've got Guardiola, Bielsa, and Sarri and Klopp and all these guys who play an attacking style of football. So we're going to see a huge change in that as well. Because no more are we going to see a Stoke or Mourinho style of playing where you hoof the ball from goalkeeper right.
Yeah, it seems like there's a trend towards a possession style press play in the Premier League. It's a move away from what we've known historically, and it's kind of interesting. But I hope that we don't lose the diversity that we have right now. We have a Pochettino style football. You got a Klopp style high counter press. You got Guardiola's possession, goalkeeper spraying the ball, and you had Mourinho's low block. We're back to sort of Ferguson styles mid block with United, but I want to see where we can go. And I don't want the league to lose its diversity and have everybody playing the same way. So I think that's it for us for this week. It was great seeing you guys again. So do tune in next week as well. Not next week, but tune in for the next episode as well. And let us know what we did right, what we did wrong, and what you would like us to be talking about.
Yeah, see ya.
So take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
If you like this video and would like to see more content like this, drop a thumbs up, comment, share, and hit subscribe by clicking the button right here.